From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Hi, everybody. Monday night, Rory Johnston with you here on News Channel 5 Plus for Open Line. And we're so glad you've tuned in because we're going to be talking about something that is really a point of conversation pretty much everywhere I go. And that is the hot real estate market in Nashville. And it has caused really a lack of affordable housing. And so that is our topic tonight, affordable housing in Nashville. And who better to discuss it with us than Ralph Perry. He's the executive director of the Tennessee Housing Development Agency. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rory. Appreciate the opportunity.
Literally just sat down and mic'd up here, so we barely had a chance to chat, but that's fine.
Sure.
We'll just have a conversation here for the viewers and remind everyone at home, our phone lines are open. We want to hear from you, 737-plus, the phone number there on your screen. So, Ralph, first of all, the Tennessee Housing Development Agency, what is it? What does it do?
The short answer is we're your state housing finance agency.
Right.
We primarily finance mortgages for first-time home buyers of moderate middle income. We also administer 9 federal housing programs on the state's behalf. And with our earnings, we create some additional Tennessee-based housing programs that support a number of things.
Has it gotten more difficult since the financial crisis, since the change in the regulatory structure? You know, I think that the word on the street is it's a lot more difficult now to borrow for a home.
Yeah, well, I look at that 2 ways. Yes, it is more difficult, but, you know, it should have been. 10 years ago, I mean, if you could fog a mirror, you could get a mortgage, and I think everyone recognized that wasn't a good idea. But what we have found is that there are a lot of Tennesseans, particularly those thinking about buying their first home, who are a lot closer to home ownership than they realize. So first, I want to encourage everyone to go to our consumer website, which is simply greatchoicetn.com. Click on that first-time home buyer tab, and what you'll find is that working with the lenders who work with us, we will give you a competitive rate on a 30-year fixed rate, no gimmick mortgage. We have available down payment and closing cost assistance. We have some underwriting flexibility that we can provide because we're your state's housing finance agency.
Do you think that that down payment is a big hurdle for lower and middle income people to be able to save up something to put down?
Yeah. We absolutely find that. We find folks they've got sufficient earnings for the house they want to buy.
Decent credit, right?
Decent credit, but what they don't have is that extra. Maybe they have a little bit for the down payment, but then maybe, well, you mean there's closing costs, and I don't have that. So when you work with us, we'll give you up to 4% of the purchase price as down payment and closing cost assistance. We do that as a forgivable second, so you're making no payments for 10 years and it's forgivable thereafter. But basically, that enables us to help people who are ready for home ownership a little bit short on that down payment closing cost.
And that's got to be a relief for people.
I think the vast majority of the folks who come to us are there because they need that little bit of a help with the down payment assistance.
So let's talk a little bit then about the market itself as people come to your agency. And now it just seems like there's just not a lot out there that the regular folk can afford.
Well, this is a very hot real estate market. Everybody's coming to Nashville, and that's obviously going to drive up the prices.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Yeah. The other thing we're seeing is that if you have a piece of land and you're going to build on it, you are not building at an affordable price range. If you can put a $400,000 house on that property, that's what you'll do. If you know, the little bail bondsman shop just around the corner from Channel 5, that little lot just sold for about $1.5 million. You can't put a pup tent there and have an affordable house. So part of that is location. Closer to downtown, that's going to be much more affordable. The farther you get out, you're still able to find builders who are building new homes in our price range. THDA mortgages, we can help people buying homes that are up in the low 200s, by and large, in this area.
Do you think that enough is being done about providing them? I know that just last week or week before that, we had a groundbreaking on a new project that I know Mayor Berry was there, and it was some units that were going to be relatively affordable compared to what we've been seeing.
I think you have some creative entrepreneurs who are looking for ways to build things that particularly younger people are interested in buying. They're going to be smaller. Some of them are going to be closer to town. I think you have some terrific nonprofits that are trying to do that, and even some for-profit developers who are looking to build in some more moderate price points. But they're not going to be in the Gulch or next to the new baseball park.
Right.
And I think we have to be realistic about those kinds of expectations. But there's a lot of interest in it. There are a lot of ideas about things that might be tried to provide additional incentives for people to build. And some of the programs that our agency has can help that along.
Sure. Some of the statistics that you sent over really are eye-opening. I did not realize right now home ownership, this throughout the entire state, is 66.7%, and that's the lowest in 20 years.
Yeah, home ownership is high, and here's something that will surprise you. It is often highest in some of our most rural or poorest counties. You go up Union County in East Tennessee, Scott County in East Tennessee, home ownership is over 80%. But what people own was probably built when FDR was president. TVA came later, indoor plumbing came later. There's a need in places like that for us to do rehab work.
Why is it that the Generation X, as we call them, these younger people, aren't as likely to be as interested in getting into the housing market?
I think eventually they will be, but I think given the economic turmoil, I think people are making very smart choices about, let's be a little more deliberate. I mean, 10 years ago, the advice anyone was giving was, well, just buy something now because it's going to be worth more in a year or two, and then you can sell it and do something with it. No one's taking that for granted. When they're buying a house now, it's because, well, this is where I plan to be for a while. I'm buying this to live, not expecting it to appreciate like stocks or bonds. The other thing is they're also postponing, for similar reasons, a lot of the other life decisions. You know, household formation.
Getting married, having children.
All that stuff. I think that will come. And I think a lot of folks who are having a great time in an apartment downtown and enjoying all the stuff that goes with that, once marriage and kids are in the picture, they're going to be thinking, well, we're going to need a little more space. We're going to need a house, and we should buy something, and we'll be there for them.
Let's go to the phones. We've got a couple of callers on hold. We'll begin with Beth. Beth, how are you?
I'm great, sir. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for calling. What's on your mind?
I am calling in regard to the housing market, but on the rental side of it.
Yeah.
We moved here about 3 years ago, and we have found that the housing market is not comparable to the economic status of living here. My husband makes around $11.25 an hour. He is retired Air Force. His income does not meet the house payment as well as take care of the household needs. We currently live in a home that we pay $1,100 a month on with a non-working stove. And we have contacted the landlord about it numerous times, but it has never been replaced, repaired, or worked on.
Yeah, I've got some
Some
stats.
of the work parts of it do not. We have tried to move out and was told we'd be in breach of contract if we leave before our contract is up.
Well, a couple things. In your specific instance, what you probably want to do is maybe get a little bit of legal advice, because apparently the landlord has obligations in this situation as well. He has an obligation to properly maintain the property. That's part of what he agrees to. And then the other issues around your lease, you might want to talk in your case, maybe find legal aid and get a little advice on just what he's obligated to do and what your rights are, because you don't have to keep paying and living in a place that's substandard.
Yeah, and that rent that she mentioned, you know, I've got average rent here is more than $1,000 now, about $1,062.
Yeah.
And that's not just apartment, that's rental units across the board, and that's pretty high.
Yeah. You know, you look at some of the new stuff that's being built downtown, and it's great stuff, but it is not remotely affordable.
No.
You know, you're getting a small apartment for $1,400 a month, and that's driving that average up. There are other places in and around Davidson County where you can still find an apartment for around $800, but you know, you're driving a little bit there. And that's why this whole affordable housing conversation is important, because all the jobs we're creating, and you can't have everybody, I don't think, driving in from Woodbury or Springfield, because that sort of defeats the purpose.
And do you think that also, as the market gets a little more saturated with new homes, new condos, apartments, that eventually this is going to come down just a little bit? It's just so hot right now,
yeah,
right?
Usually that's what happens. You look at all the things that are construction, the more supply you have, then that tends to even out prices. But, you know, I think folks have to be realistic. You know, that living in the Gulch is always going to be a pretty pricey thing.
Yeah. Beth, have you tried any legal assistance?
I have not been able to find any legal assistance. I have spoken with like real estate people who like have corporate type real estate ownership type things, and they were the ones who told me that I would be in breach of contract if I were to leave my residence.
Yeah, I would try the Legal Aid Society first, and then. Now,
I did contact one legal aid society, and they said they did not help renters.
Also, try the Nashville Bar Association. They have a pro bono program with their member attorneys, and they may be able to help you as well.
And what was that?
The Nashville Bar Association.
Nashville Bar Association.
You know,
okay.
The Tennessee Department of Veterans Affairs, you mentioned your husband's service.
That's a great point.
I would call them, not that they do that kind of stuff, but they might be able to refer you to someone who'd be more than willing to help a service member.
Yeah, and the last one, I would just say dial 211, which is the United Way helpline.
That's a good idea.
They can put you in touch. Just give them your kind of scenario of what you're dealing with, and they may be able to put you in touch with the right folks.
Okay, I appreciate your help, and thank you.
Good luck, Beth. Good luck.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, everybody, and we got more calls coming in. We appreciate it. 737 plus. If you'd like to talk about affordable housing, we'll be right back.